Bitcoin getting interesting again here. You can see that on today, the 1-day candle, we are above the 200-day moving average. It's been a while since we've gotten back up above that, at least about a week and a half or so, or however long this is. What is this, March 10th until today? So almost 2 weeks we've been basically trading beneath this thing. Now, what is going to happen when we cross this green line? You see this green descending line here and this big, thick red one. That is the 200-day. We are also getting above the midline of this descending channel that we've been in for a while here. Let me see if I can't get my cursor. There it is. This descending channel that we've been in for a while here. We're just getting above the middle line of that, the 200-day moving average of that, and we are starting to peak above this green trend line right here, the dotted one. And once we get above that and we hold above that, let's see, we could go back up to the 50-day moving average, which is currently at $89,000, potentially even coming up to $90,000. Now, what we don't want to see is what happened last time we peaked above the 200-day moving average back here on March 19th, where on the 20th we immediately got rejected right back down and went flat again. We need to not see that this time, okay? So that is going to be really, really important. Now, this isn't some big God candle coming in telling us that it's time to get back in quite yet, but it is a step in the right direction, okay? So this is actually really good. Right now, we've got the BX trender is getting larger to the upside. The stochastics are pointing up. The RSI is about to peak over 50. All of those things are good signs for Bitcoin, which are good signs for MicroStrategy coin and the Bitcoin miners. Now, we have been underperforming on the Bitcoin miners for a while now, so I'm not going to get too excited about their performance coming through. I am a little bit excited about MicroStrategy's performance in conjunction with the Bitcoin movements right now, and as well as coin. All right, so let's take a look also at the weekly here for Bitcoin. Real quick, we're going to look at the weekly. And this is crypto weekend, by the way. Okay, so the weekly, the BX trend are still bad. The stochastics are still bad. The RSI is also just peaking, just below 50 there. It's stuck right below 50. We do have a couple of good candles on the weekly, though. If we could close this even just a little bit higher, that would be great. We've got 25 minutes on this candle. It really needs to close about halfway up that big red boy there, which would be, let's see, did we make it? We're almost made it. Basically, it would have to go back to the daily highs or the weekly highs at 87,350 in order to really give us any kind of hope that this is really going to be a big follow through. But it is a good sign still, just creeping up to the top of this big red boy that we got there on the weekly. On the daily, we need to get all the way back up to about 87,000, which is the high that we got on March 20th, in order to really, and we'd have to do it in the next 30 minutes to really show that we're like breaking out of here right now. But I don't think that's going to happen in 20 minutes. It could. Weirder things have, but it's something to keep an eye on there. So right now we are looking at getting a closure above the 200-day moving average, staying above it tomorrow, as well as moving up to the 50 and conquering $90,000 one more time on Bitcoin. Okay, let's take a look at Solana. Solana has been performing ever since that day where it dipped to 112. It's been on a nice trend up. We've been kind of just respecting this trend line right here, coming into a bit of a flat-topped triangle here, which stops at about 135. So 135 is the line in the sand for Solana that it needs to get above in order to make a test for the top of the Bollinger Band and the 50-day moving average at 155, the 200 all the way up there at 175. We are also, let's see, what does this thing need to break? So it broke this white line here. That's good. But now it needs to, let's go ahead and take this, move it to about right there. And this is the next line that we're going to have to break right there. This one, let's make it green. We get above that, I'm going to be feeling pretty good about Solana, again, moving at least up to the 200-day moving average of 170s and the 170s and potentially beyond. I do like this pattern down here. This flat top triangle is a bit of a bullish pattern. The stochastics, the RSI, the BX trender all look the same on Solana as Bitcoin, so that's all really good on the daily. On the weekly, it's still looking kind of bad, though Solana does look like it's gotten further, at least on the stochastics, it's gotten closer to a bottom than Bitcoin has on the weekly, so that is going to be something we watch. I want to see this flip yellow and then like cross up above the purple there, so I want to see it turn yellow, get above where the purple is right now, and then slowly see that purple turn to green. And that will be a sign that we are ready to roll all the way back up to the top for Solana. But we did this huge double top on Solana, came all the way to the back to the bottom of that formation there with the trade war, and then now we're kind of fiddling around down here until we cross that 135, come up above this this descending trend line, hit this next descending trend line, and then then we're off and away. There's kind of a lot of stuff in our way right now, but these are good signs. The last couple of days, we've been getting some good price action out of it. It's not the worst thing in the world. You can see the 5 crossing up on the 13 there on the EMAs. That's also not so bad. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum is really just toying with $2,000 here. Okay, again, the stochastics, the BX trender, those two things look great on the daily for Ethereum. The RSI, not so good. One thing I will point out about Ethereum is this does look a little bit like a bear flag. I don't know what pen that was. I want my brush. Thank you. This right here, that's looking a bit like a bear flag and could, break to the downside, taking us back down to like 16 or 1500. That would be really unpleasant. I don't want to see that happen, but this does look more bear flaggy than the others in terms of just that formation and how it looks. I don't care for it. So let's see right now. Let's see what are we looking at for Ethereum for a ray. Let's get a ray out here. Take it like this. Okay, so we've broken this trend line. That's good. We could come back and test it from above, which would take us to the bottom trend, the bottom Bollinger, whatever, band down there at 1,670. I want to call it around that. Well, it's 1,669, pretty much on the dot almost. 116.51. I was completely off. 116.51.83 down there. We could come retest this trend line from above and then launch from there. Potentially, we'll see. I do think that next week we are going to see some significant improvements in the economic outlook, though, as the trade war is coming to an end. Basically, there was the deadline of April 2nd when they would be implemented. Could they come to a midnight deal before that and send us all flying higher? I do think that is a possibility. Of course, though, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. I have no idea what's going to happen in the future. I'm just looking at the charts, reading them, looking at sentiment, thinking about what may or may not occur depending on what happens in the geopolitical landscape, and trying to deploy my money appropriately. Of course, always taking steps to manage my risk and understanding that sometimes I'm going to lose and I'm going to have to make sure that I know where to cut when I have lost. All right, so that is where we're at right now with crypto. Everything is looking good on the daily, but there are some headwinds there more on the weekly charts. Let's go to Ethereum weekly chart as well real quick. We'll just take a look at that. Yeah, the BX trender is down, the stochastics are down, the RSI is in the dumps. None of the momentum indicators look good at all on the weekly for Ethereum, but the daily is showing promise that in time we could see it recover on the weekly as well, giving us an even better bullish signal that Ethereum is finally ready to recover. Let's take a look at XRP real quick. We're just going to do the daily on XRP. Okay, XRP is kind of a back and forth. Here you can see that the BX trender is going back between lime green and dark green. Here, that's not a good sign. That kind of shows that we're chopping. It's choppy. It's much more choppy than it appears right now. At least, yeah, and it's been like that for about a week, so it's chopping up and down. We are at the 50-day moving average. We do need to get above that, but we are struggling there. It's at $2.42. We're currently at $2.43, so we're just above the 50-day moving average. We came down to the 200, almost tapped it. We didn't quite come into contact with it, though, so there's still that risk that XRP wants to come back and touch the 200-day moving average at 191. That could happen here at any time here, or not 190. Yeah, 191 where it currently is. So that is a fear for XRP. That would, if you look over here on the fib, we only ever came down to the 168. We didn't go to the 786, which would be down at 163 right now. So that's actually not a terrible sign. We came down to the 618, which is also a nice bounce area for a lot of places. We may come back to it one more time before we go and launch. But of course, if XRP gets above 260, well, then it's already well on its way. It's going to go back to the tops of these candles at $3, potentially even all the way back up to the top around like 350-ish. There from there, so keep your eyes on that. To the downside, we could go down to about 191. To the upside, we could be going to like 330 or even higher for that. Let's take a look real fast at Doge. This is going to be the last one I'm going to cover right now for the crypto weekend. Doge has kind of flattened out. It is looking a bit bottomy, but this little formation right here that we're currently making on the daily, it's not great. It's not great. Like, we really need to get above 18 cents. We really got to get above 18 cents and stay above 16 cents. So if we go below 16 cents, we're coming back to the lows. If we get above 18 cents, then we've got room all the way up to 2021, maybe even all the way to the 200-day moving average at 24 cents. So that's what we're looking at for Doge on the daily. We really are sandwiched between 18 and 16 cents. We got to get above 18 to go higher. If we go below 16, we're going lower. The stochastics look terrible. Look how wispy and gross those look. That's just nasty. I mean, the short is pointing straight up, so that's a good sign, but the slow has turned purple again and is not green. The RSI is in the dumps, down under 40 there. That's no good. We've got the BX Trender, though, has been showing that momentum is growing. So once we get above 18 cents, I do think that we could easily rush up to the 200-day moving average on this thing, which wouldn't quite be a double up. We'd be looking at like, 4 or 5 cents. But if you've got, compound that by tens of thousands, if you're buying that many, then that ends up being quite a lot of money. So you can see here, we came lower than the 786 on Doge because since it's a meme, it came all the way down, almost all the way back to the baseline down here at 13 cents, where this first big launch started back in October. So we're almost back to baseline. Once we get back above the 786, the 20 cents. So basically, we get above 18, we're going to hit the 786. If we get above the 786, there's a good chance that we could come all the way back up to the 618 at 26 cents. So keep your eyes on that. That's the crypto outlook for the weekend. It's not such a bad weekend. Not looking too bad. Things are starting to recover slowly. I think this week we could see some big inflows into crypto with that deadline for the tariffs coming up in the following week. We are probably going to see some midnight deals made on those, some concessions on both sides coming through, and a cooling off of the trade war. And if that is what is to occur, then I think all of our assets are going to see some significant appreciation coming in April. So let's stay dialed in for that. Of course, if things start to roll over once more, we're done for. We gotta make the decisions that are necessary at that point in time. And of course, like I've said always and continue to say, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. These are simply my opinions about what I see in the charts and in the news. You must come to your own conclusions, come up with your own risk profile to decide what you're willing to lose in order to try to make what you want to make. And as always, have a plan. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.